Every prison has its secrets. Behind the walls of steel and concrete, stories are written in silence, in shadows, and in the spaces where fear lingers the longest. Today, we bring you one such story. A story whispered among correctional officers, passed along like a warning, a tale that sent chills down the spine of even the bravest men. Welcome to Epic Story Hub, and this is the prison cell that no officer wanted to enter, until a rookie did. It began in Graydell State Penitentiary, a massive prison built decades ago on the outskirts of a forgotten town. The facility was notorious, not just for the criminals it held, but for the darkness that seemed to live inside its walls. The prison was overcrowded, understaffed, and plagued with violence. Yet, for all the chaos that echoed in its corridors, there was one place every guard avoided at all costs. Cell 19, Block D Cell 19 wasn't just another room. It was a legend. Officers whispered about it during late-night shifts. Inmates dared not even glance in its direction. The door was always locked, the lights around it always dimmer than the rest of the block, as if the darkness inside spilled out and swallowed everything around it. No one had lived in Cell 19 for years. Official records claimed it was empty, out of use, they said. But the stories told otherwise. Guards swore they heard voices coming from inside, low whispers that twisted into laughter, then screams. Some said they saw shadows moving across the small barred window, even though no one was inside. And the few officers who had been ordered to enter the cell never lasted long. They either quit their jobs, requested transfers, or were left with a look in their eyes that never went away. For years, the cell remained untouched. Nobody wanted to go near it. Not the seasoned officers, not the veterans, not the fearless men who dealt with riots and murderers daily. Cell 19 was different. It was not dangerous because of a person. It was dangerous because of what it carried: an atmosphere, a weight, a presence. Then came Officer Thomas, fresh out of training, barely 24 years old, wide-eyed and eager to prove himself. He was the rookie who didn't yet know the unspoken rules of the prison. He had heard the whispers, of course, but he didn't believe in ghost stories or curses. He believed in procedure, in facts, in discipline. To him, Cell 19 was just an old room with peeling paint and broken pipes. Nothing more. But he was about to learn that some places do not care about what you believe. Some places make you believe it. Was his third week on the job when it happened. A sudden power outage swept through Block D, plunging the wing into darkness. Prisoners shouted and banged on their doors, chaos echoing through the block. Officers scrambled to restore order. And in the middle of that chaos, Thomas was given a simple order: check Cell 19. He froze. The veteran officer who gave him the command didn't look him in the eye. None of the others volunteered. And so, with his flashlight trembling in his grip, Thomas found himself walking down the long corridor of Block D. The air grew colder with each step, the sounds of the prisoners fading as he neared the far end. The cell door loomed before him, its metal rusted, the number 19 barely visible. His hand hovered over the handle. He thought he heard breathing from inside. And that was the moment when Thomas, the rookie, would cross the threshold that no other officer dared to. The moment when he stepped into a place where legends were born, where fear had a voice, and where he would discover why Cell 19 had remained sealed for so long. Thomas's fingers hovered over the iron handle of Cell 19. The metal was icy, colder than anything else he had touched in the prison. His breath came out in visible clouds, though the rest of Block D was warm and humid. He gripped his flashlight tighter, the beam trembling across the steel door. He swallowed hard, then pushed. The heavy door creaked open with a shriek that seemed louder than it should have been, echoing down the entire corridor. For a second, he froze. Nothing moved inside, just darkness, a darkness that didn't feel empty, but alive, heavy, suffocating. Thomas stepped forward, one foot, then the other. The air inside was colder, thicker, like it resisted him. His flashlight beam scanned across the walls. Peeling paint, rusted bars, a broken bed frame, Nothing unusual, just an old, abandoned prison cell. And then, he heard it. A faint whisper, so soft he thought it might have been the sound of air through the cracks. He turned his head. No one. He held his breath. The whisper came again, clearer this time, curling into words he couldn't quite understand. It wasn't one voice. It was several. Thomas's heart began to race. He swung his flashlight toward the far wall. Nothing. Just shadows. He forced himself to breathe, telling himself it was in his head, just nerves, just imagination. But then, he saw the bed. The thin mattress was torn. The fabric ripped open like claws had dragged across it. His light traced over the marks, deep, violent gouges in the metal frame beneath. They weren't random. They were deliberate, almost like letters. Almost like someone, or something, had tried to write a message. He leaned closer, shining the beam over the scratches. The letters weren't complete, broken and uneven, but one word stood out. Burned into the frame, scarred into the steel. Leave. Thomas stumbled back, his breath catching in his throat. The flashlight slipped from his grip for a second before. He caught it again. He wanted to run. Every part of his body screamed at him to get out. But pride, stubbornness, and the weight of being the rookie kept him rooted. He couldn't run now. If he did, the rest of the guards would never let him forget it. He forced himself to steady his breathing. Just a cell, he whispered under his breath. Just a stupid cell. Then, something changed. The door behind him slammed shut with a thunderous crash. He spun around, nearly dropping his light. He rushed to the door, grabbing the handle, pulling, twisting. Nothing. It wouldn't budge. It was locked. From the outside, panic surged through him. He banged on the door with his fist. "Hey, I'm still in here." His voice echoed through the block, but no answer came. The other guards, if they were even close enough, didn't respond. The prisoners had gone silent. Too silent. Thomas pressed his forehead against the cold metal of the door, closing his eyes for a second. And then, from behind him, in the middle of the cell, footsteps, slow, deliberate, heel, toe, heel, toe. He froze, his blood running cold. His mind screamed, "You're alone. It's impossible. You're alone." But his body knew the truth. Someone, something, was in the cell with him. He spun around, flashlight shaking, beam darting across the room. Empty. Just shadows crawling across the cracked walls. But the footsteps didn't stop. They circled him, steady, mocking, invisible. "Who's there?" His voice cracked as it echoed against the concrete. "Show yourself!" The footsteps stopped. Dead silence. And then, right next to his ear, a voice whispered. A low guttural whisper so close he felt the cold breath against his skin. "You shouldn't have come in." The flashlight flickered violently, plunging the room into strobing shadows. And for a split second, in the corner of the cell, he saw it, a figure. Gaunt, pale, eyes wide and hollow. A grin stretched too far across its face. Gone in the next flicker of light. Thomas stumbled back, his chest heaving, his heart pounding so loud it drowned out everything else. His rational mind was gone. This wasn't imagination. This wasn't a story. This was real, and he was trapped inside with it.